everyone, welcome to the latest episode of Score Settled. Now we are back with another set of questions which are important from the mathematical economics point of view, international trade and integration, as well as the investment rate and so on, right? So let's begin. The first question is that we have to evaluate this integration function which is given as from the range of 1 to 2, e raised to power minus 2x dx. Okay, so now we are given the ranges 1 to 2. Let's start. So it will be minus 1 by 2 e raised to power minus 2x, and we are given the range of 1 to 2 here. So we'll just substitute these values in your x. We get that minus 1 by 2 e raised to power minus 2 into 2 minus 4 minus of minus 1 by 2 e raised to power minus 2 into 1 is minus 2. When we solve this, we get 1 by 2 e raised to power minus 2 minus 1 by 2 e raised to power minus 4. Taking 1 by 2 common, we have e raised to power minus 2 minus e raised to power minus 4, which makes third as a right answer. Okay, so please be very careful with your integration formula and rules. Okay, very important. Next question. Assume that the rate of investment is described by the function I with respect to time is equal to 12t raised to power 1 by 3 with capital stock k at the time of t0 is equal to 25. So we have to find the time part of capital stock k. One thing that you need to remember here is that investment is nothing but change in your capital stock over time. So we can write it as dk by dt. dk by dt. Okay, so if we have to find the capital stock, right, then we need to integrate our investment function with respect to time t. Okay, so let's try this out. So integrating investment function is given as 12 t raised to power 1 by 3, taking 12 common, t raised to power 1 by 3 dt. So we have to integrate this. So it will be given as, so 12 t raised to power 1 by 3 plus 1 upon 1 by 3 plus 1, right, plus c. Okay, so solving this exponents, so we get 12 t raised to power 4 by 3 divided by 4 by 3. Solving it further, we get that 9t raised to power 4 by 3 plus c is our capital stock. Okay, now what we have to find is the function. So we are given that k at the time 0 is 25. So when we substitute t is equal to 0, we get 25 is equal to 9 into 0 is 0 is equal to c. So we are given the constant function as 25. So putting this constant function, so in this equation, so we get k is equal to 9t raised to power 4 by 3 plus 25. So this is our answer, option 2 here. Okay. Next question. A company has examined its cost and revenue structure and has determined that C, that is your total cost, and R, that is total revenue, and X, the number of units produced, are related as these are your cost and revenue functions that are given. Now we have to find the product level X that will maximize the profit for this company, right? And maximizing profits means we have to reach the equilibrium level. And what is the equilibrium condition? That MC is equal to MR. So MC is nothing but DC by dx. So here given the cost function, we can find 0.030x as our MC. And MR will be dr by dx, which is given as 3. So equating MC is equal to MR, we get 0.030x is equal to 3. So solving this, we get 30x upon 1000 is equal to 3. So 0 cancel, x will be equal to 100. Right? Easy question, right? So you need to know the basic idea, and this will be like, seeing the question at first, it may seem confusing that what is actually asked from it. But if you're clear with your concepts, if you're clear with your basics, this is nothing but a piece of cake for you. Okay, so x is equal to 100 is the right answer. Next question. The Stolper-Samuelson theorem postulates that, firstly, we read Stolper-Samuelson theory as a part of your Heckscher-Rollin theory. Now, what does the Heckscher-Rollin theory states? That the country should produce the good which uses the abundant factor more intensively. For example, if you have abundant labor, then you should produce labor intensive good. Why? Because the relative price of labor would be less than the price of capital, which will make your production cost effective. That's what our Heckscher-Rollin theory states. Now, Stolper-Samuelson theorem states that once you start producing the good which uses the abundant factor intensively, so you are doing nothing but increasing the demand of that factor, say labor, right? And once the demand is increased, so the price of that labor will also increase. Okay. So over the period of time, once you engage into such kind of a production and export process, the price of labor would ultimately increase, right? And this makes first as a right answer. That increase in the relative price of a commodity raises the earnings of the factor used intensively in the production of the commodity. Now, please write down a few things. Implications of your Stolper-Samuelson theory. First implication is that it leads to increase in welfare, right? Because the labor is abundantly available, right? So the price of that factor would be less. But once you start engaging that abundant factor in your production process, its demand increases, its wages increase, and as a result, the welfare also increases. Second implication is that it will lead to an improvement in your income distribution, right? So labor would get more income. Okay. Third is that export promotion, very important. Export promotion is better than your import substitution, because if your exports increase, the demand for your abundant factor increases and the wages would increase, which will increase the overall welfare level in the economy, right? So export promotion is better. And last implication is that tariffs only discourage exports. So tariffs should be minimized. Right? So these are the four important implications of Stolper-Samuelson theorem. Okay? So please keep a note of it. Right? Next question. Which of the following correctly states the formula to compute the rate of effective protection? Now this is a direct formula. The formula is clearly explicitly mentioned in the study material. So if I read the study material properly, I can instantly answer it to be option 1. Right? So no thoughts, nothing extra, straight away coming to the answer. Okay? So please go through the material thoroughly. Okay, so it has everything clearly mentioned and very important things mentioned from the examination point of view. Right? Now, just a few extra things that you need to know. First is that this rate of effective protection implies that how your protection level or the tariffs, right? How protection level impacts the domestic economy or domestic, say, costs and production, right? So how the protection level or the tariff structure is impacting your domestic production, right? Then next thing you need to know is that if you have a positive G, positive value of your rate of effective protection, then that means your domestic industries are receiving more protection, right? Are receiving more protection than the nominal tariffs, and it is giving them extra space to grow. So a positive G is trying to make your domestic industries capable to compete with your foreign industries, okay, so by giving them protection, by giving them a cushion basically. Okay, however, a negative value of G would imply that the tariffs on inputs exceeds tariffs on your final goods. So inputs being used by the domestic industries. So if they are paying higher tariffs on the inputs that are crucial for the domestic production, then this will discourage your domestic industries in producing more. Okay. So a positive G is beneficial for domestic industries, a negative G is harmful. The rate of effective protection will imply that what is the total impact of tariffs on both final products and as well as your intermediate products. So if you have to, if you have to protect your domestic industries, then tariffs on your final products should be more, right? If your tariffs on input is more than the tariff on final goods, you're just discouraging your domestic industries. You're just, increasing their costs of production, which will be absolutely of no use, right? So with this, we come to the end of the video. I hope you found something very useful out of it, right? And these are important points from the UGC NET economics exams point of view, right? So thank you so much for watching, and till then, take care. Bye-bye. Thank you.